Welcome, my name is Bart Kempers and today I'll take you along on this Sea Ray Sundancer 265, a boat especially aimed for the European market. As usual with the review we start at the bow, so I'll take you there, going via the entrance towards the bow. We just put the anchor out and we just found a nice place out in the sun here. This boat is equipped with the optional anchor winch. It's an electric anchor winch. You see some dirt here, but that is because we've been anchoring before. I personally think with this kind of boat this is quite a nice option depending on whether you anchor often or not. But it's very convenient and comfortable to just press a button which is located here. One to put the anchor down and one to take the anchor up. This is for safety, so that you don't accidentally press them and lower the anchor while driving. You see here some anti-skid on the proper places, so that when you access the boat from the bow, because of that, this railing is opened at the bow with a safety feature here to prevent people from falling off too easily. But there's anti-skid on plenty of places here, so that you don't slide on the foredeck and fall into the water. This particular boat is also equipped with the optional sunbed on the bow. And when you choose that option, you have this railing to both keep the sun cushions between the railing and of course have some form of grab rail so that when you are lounging here you don't fall overboard. And this is the outside railing which comes as a standard with this Sea Ray Sundancer 265. I usually also tell people some little thing about these cleats. What I personally always like is that Sea Ray engraves the Sea Ray logo in these cleats. There are, by the way, 6 cleats on this boat, so plenty of possibilities to moor the boat properly. And these are made out of stainless steel, like railing, hinges and other stainless steel parts, which are made out of stainless steel of a 316 quality, what they call it, which is the best quality that is available in the water sports industry. But not only that, these cleats on many boats, they do not build a backing piece into the hull or into the deck in this particular case. With Sea Ray they do. So if people ask me about what separates Sea Ray from the competition, I ask them to go and have a look at other brands and check, especially at the cleats, because with other brands you see some cracks here, and that is because they do not use proper backing, which Sea Ray does. So that is why a Sea Ray usually has a good second-hand value, because people know that they are built well, and this lasts for quite a long time without cracks emerging here. Going back, there's some small detail. There's a cushion here which you can also take away so that you can have some light and ventilation inside the cabin. I'll leave it like this so that we have more light when we enter the inside. And here we go towards the cockpit. And I'll wait just 1 second for the cameraman to follow me. And going to the inside, of course, you have the step on to go to the bow here. And this gives you access to the cabin forward. A beautiful layout. This Sundancer 265 is intended for family cruising. You have 4 places to sleep. There's a double bed underneath the cockpit. There's a nice settee, U-shaped here in the bow, which can be converted to a double bed also. Now I am 1.93 m and this is slightly too short for me. But if you are quite tall, one thing I would want to show you is this piece which you can take out so that you have more length here and you can even sleep taller people. Personally I would sleep there, but this, as I said, is a family boat, so I think most people buying this will use this as a family with 2 children, and Children can sleep here, parents can sleep there. I'm 1 meter 93 and I'll show you in a minute that I have plenty of space in the back. And as I said, there's a hatch here, giving you nice light in the bow. And this is also with a small mosquito net or dish when you sleep overnight to keep the light out. And what I also personally like are these two windows on both sides, giving you more light into the cabin, but also a nice way to look outside. When you're out boating, you always want some form of contact with the water, and this, I personally feel, is a great thing to have in the cabin. Beautiful wood finished table and a beautiful wood finished floor. Nice dark wood. Plenty of cabinets, so plenty of storage. And what I also personally like quite much with Sea Ray is that the inside of every cabinet is also finished in a proper way with the same nice wood. There are two additional skylights, I think they call them, for additional light. Now the sun bed is on the outside, so sunlight is not coming in via these two. But still, there's plenty of light already, but it can still improve, is what you need to remind. Here another cabinet, plenty of space. A single burner stove, so if you want to do some small cooking, that's possible. And here the faucet. There is a freshwater heater as a standard on this boat, so both cold and warm water are available. And here quite a big fridge, plenty of room. Here there's another cabinet, and that is difficult for the cameraman, but there's a small piece to put your garbage. And this is also something that separates Sea Ray from the competition. This is used to keep the mosquitoes out, so when you sleep overnight or want some additional ventilation, you don't get the mosquitoes in and keep them outside. And as I said, this is an additional sleeping place. And as I am quite tall, 1 meter 93, I've got my feet completely flat on the lower side now. And you can see that I have, well, I think even 15-20 centimeters still. So there's plenty of room. There's a small opening here also with a mosquito net for ventilation. A small cabinet here to store your phone or keys or whatever. And of course a small curtain for your privacy. And to keep the light out if necessary. Also a nice place, I know by experience, which is used by kids because they tend to sometimes like to be outside of the sun and with an iPad or whatever sit and lounge, and this is quite a nice place for kids to sit also. Another thing that I'd like to show you is that with Sea Ray all these panels are also nicely handcrafted with nice leather stitching. Every piece is covered, beautifully finished. Also here, ceilings. With many other boats I usually see that you see just blank fiberglass, which is fine of course, but this gives you the luxurious feel of a Sea Ray. And here you have the head. Standard is an electric toilet, and it can be used as a shower also via this system. And as I mentioned, this boat standard has a freshwater heater, so there's warm water also. And this is all easy cleanable materials. Only the door of course is nice wood paneling, and that is what you use this curtain for. Is there anything I'm forgetting here? Yeah, there's a small panel here with all the switches for lights, refrigerator, and a small indicator where you can see whether there's shore power connected or not. And of course, since we're anchoring now, there's no shore power, but still that is the way to check that. Okay, now we're in the cockpit. A beautifully laid out cockpit, very roomy. As I mentioned, this boat is aimed at families, 2 parents, 2 children, or maybe even more, there's plenty of space here. There's lots of places to sit and sit comfortably. What I always like is quite big backrests, so that you do sit comfortably also when you tend to be on the boat for longer periods. And this is a really nice place to sit and watch over the water or wherever you are. But also this, if you sit like this length is also important. And the length on this particular Sea Ray on this side is very sufficient. This is a small place for the main switches and some other switches. Nicely covered with this upholstery, which by the way is Silverguard, which is a very nice material, gives you a luxurious feel. You also see that there's a slight increase here in the height of the cushion, which more or less blocks you while sitting. When you're driving, that gives you the sheltered and comfortable feel. And with these double stitches, that also adds to the luxurious finish of this Sea Ray. Okay, steering position I'll cover later when we take the boat out for a spin. There's a very nice setup here to have a small lunch or have a nice drink, with quite a big table laid out in full teak, natural teak, with the Sea Ray logo on, places to put small drinking glasses, and of course there are plenty of other places with cup holders to put your drinks. And this also works as a grab rail, and there are plenty of grab rails all over the boat, like here and there, also in the back. And this is a place, as I said, where you sit, you have a small drink or a small lunch or whatever. This particular boat, by the way, is also equipped with the optional refrigerator below. Plenty of space, and also finished in gel coat, not in rough fiberglass mounting. So this stays nice also for longer periods, easy to clean, which is important when you use it as a place to store cold drinks, because you get some moisture there, and then it gets important to clean it easily. But as I said, a nice place to sit down, have a drink, but also to lie down, because there is a way to lower this backrest. And now I won't show you at this moment, but perhaps we can fit in a photo with this folded down and lowered. You can imagine what quite a big sunbed you'll have when you lower the table, put the filler cushion on. It is a beautiful place to sit or lie down in the sun, and even for longer people there's plenty of place. Before I show you the engine room and before I fold this back up, this is something also which is used to sit down. Quality is good enough even for heavier people to sit down on this backrest and enjoy the nice water. I'm putting this back, and then I'll show you the engine room, which is fitted, the hatch is fitted with gas struts, so you'll see that if I step off, it comes up. Double gas struts which have a proper power, so to say, so that you won't have to, that it doesn't take a lot of energy to lift the engine hatch. And there's plenty of space, as you can see here. That brings me also to the engine with which this particular boat is equipped. This boat has the standard 4.5 liter Macruiser, which is 250 horsepower. It's quite a new engine block, which replaced the V8, which used to be 260 horsepower. But there's an important difference, because this is a 6-cylinder engine and the V8 used to be quite heavy and also quite a bit longer. You can imagine this is 6-cylinder having 8 cylinders, which it would probably fill the engine room up to here. So now you have more room, it's easier to service, and a very important thing is that it's lighter. This, as I said, is a family cruiser, and being in the Netherlands we have quite a few customers who like to take a family cruiser such as this to Croatia, to the Mediterranean or whatever. and you need to be under 3.5 tons in total, including the trailer. And with this particular boat, using the standard engine, you might manage if you don't have too many options on the boat and you're not too heavily loaded. But I personally feel that this particular engine is perfect for this boat, but I'll show you later when we take her out for a spin. Not only is the power sufficient, it gets you up to plane easily, but I think that having this much room in an engine room such as this one is very convenient. I could pinpoint out several points which also adds to the quality of a Sea Ray. Things such as this, which drain the excess water. If it does come in, rain coming down or heavy waters, spray coming in, it drains the water properly. Instead of water entering into the engine room, it drains in the proper way and takes it outside. Now I'll close this. All stainless steel. Another thing is that this particular boat is fitted with the bimini to give you some sun shade. As an option, you can have a camper package with which you can completely close the cockpit and also enjoy this in colder climates. And as an option, you can have some form of an arch with which you of course can also have a bimini and a camper package. We chose to order this boat with the bimini and the camper package, but there are different options. And for the Netherlands we chose this because we have many bridges and the height going on the bridges is of course important, and with this option we kept it as low as possible. Going to the back, there's a small entrance door here, which is a very simple system blocking it. And while I'm past the entrance, there's a shower here, and as I mentioned, there's cold but also warm water on board with the fresh water heater, so it's very convenient that if you've been swimming you can rinse off salt or whatever with warm water. The swimming ladder is placed underneath this swimming platform right here at a really nice place because you're away from the stern drive, and there's a good grab rail here, so there's a really good way to go in and out of the water. And what I also like is the really big and wide swimming platform, because this is what people use anchoring, swimming, looking out of the water. Plenty of place here. Shore power connector here at the back, right there, and this is the connector for the anchor light, which was, by the way, I didn't show you, but it was placed underneath the hatch of the engine room. I think we covered most of the cockpit, so I think it's about time we take the boat out and show you how it drives. Okay, here we are at the steering position of the Sea Ray Sundancer 265. As I mentioned, this boat is equipped with a 4.5 liter 6-cylinder cruiser gasoline. There, as an option, you can have a 4.5 liter with DTS, digital throttle and shift. This boat does not have that particular feature. It has the standard engine, which is just fine, but you'll see that in a minute. But as I mentioned, an option is to have digital throttle and shift, where this shifting is even more easier than it is now. And as another option, you can have a 6.2 liter V8 300 horsepower. And another third option is to have a diesel engine, I think by heart 265 horsepower, used in areas where it's difficult to fill up the tank with gasoline, which in Holland is usually the reason to choose the diesel engine. For fuel efficiency, in my experience, it isn't necessary, because these engines are already quite fuel efficient, and people tend to use these boats maybe 100 hours a season, but usually even less. And if you make that number of hours, it's not useful financially to invest in a diesel engine, is my personal experience. I have these seats now in the upright position, which is nice to use it in some way as a leaning post, but of course you can fold this down. Before I do this, I can also show you this steering wheel, which I just put in the upright position. which you can also lower, but this is quite nice while steering and standing. And even with this engine option, the steering is very easy. With the palm of your hand you can steer and shift at the same time. Sitting down like this is also very convenient. Then you lower the steering wheel, and this gives you a good place to rest your arm and drive the boat nicely and comfortably. All the switches are here as usual with Sea Ray. They are made out of stainless steel and sheltered also. I won't go over all the switches, but these are the usual switches for lights, the anchor winch, etc, etc. We fitted this particular boat also with the optional bow thruster, which I think makes boating a lot easier, and people tend to take their boats out quicker if you have a Force 5. I tend to see in the marina that people are somewhat scared, worried about not getting back into the mooring easily. If you do fit a bow thruster, you get more confidence. So I do feel that it is a good option to consider. Audio and of course trim tabs. And before we carry on, I think it's best if I use this man overboard cord. And also these nice gauges here with these nice bezels. This shelter against direct sunlight gives you a good overview of all the gauges. Smartcraft. Now the depth under the boat is 1.9 meters. Engine temperature, charging voltage, RPM, engine hours, only 4 in this particular boat, speed and water temperature, which now is 21 degrees, quite nice. And also here you see the nice stitching, here double stitches, compass, which has a small light of course, and the nice Sea Ray logo just in front of me. So a very nicely laid out steering position and dashboard. Okay, as I mentioned, this boat is fitted with a 4.5 liter. I do hear sometimes that people are worried that it's underpowered. That is not my experience, but I'll show you in a minute, because you can take her up to plane quite easily. Let me put the stern drive down. And also I've driven this boat before with 5 people on board, and even then no worries getting the boat up to plane. So I think that is certainly something to consider, just having the standard engine. Okay, here we go. I won't push it too far for the cameraman. Not even going full speed, but as you'll see, you get her up to plane easily. Let me trim her up. No need for me to use the trim tabs. Very nice steering, very easy. Let me also grab my phone to see how fast we're going. Turning into a corner at 39 kilometers an hour. Is this safe? I think it will be, okay. 41. 55, 56, 58. 60 kilometers an hour, 60 kilometers an hour, and it feels perfect. Let me make a slight corner again, slight turn. Very easy steering. Feels really nice. Certainly not underpowered, but of course if you want additional top speed, can consider to fit the optional 6.2 liter V8 engine. Okay, brings me to the end of this review. This was the very first time for me to do this review in English, because I used to do them in Dutch. I hope you appreciate us taking the effort. If you do have comments, if you do have recommendations on my English, leave them in the comments below this video. Thank you for watching for now. I hope to see you in our showroom at Campers Watersport. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.